2024. And we sincerely apologize to you for not really bringing the State of the Nation to you yesterday, because the State of the Nation from now henceforth will be running from Mondays through Fridays. And before I get into the details of what we have for you on the show this very lovely morning, I would love you to relax, okay? And make sure you don't really change that, because we'll be taking a look at very important issues on the show this morning. Well, once again, good morning and welcome to the State of the Nation on Boss Radio 98.9 FM, where my name is Osaze Ejiogu. State of the Nation is a social political program where issues are presented and tackled headlong, and it runs on every Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. Yes, today's State of the Nation is focusing on events that shaped Nigeria in the year 2023. Yes, on events that shaped Nigeria as a country in the year 2023. Details of that will definitely come to, but first, let's actually listen to some of the trending stories, on the show this very lovely morning. Well, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has invited the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu, to his headquarters in Abuja for questioning over alleged fraud. EFCC confirmed this yesterday that the suspended minister had been summoned and was expected to be at the Commission's office today. The invitation followed her suspension from office by President Bola Tinubu over a controversial 590 million naira payment to a private bank account. Tinubu had yesterday suspended Mrs. Betta Edu from office with immediate effect and ordered the EFCC to investigate the activities of the ministry. Interesting. What other trending stories we have here is that a federal high court in Abuja has ordered that Sri Ndufon, the suspended dean of the Faculty of Law, University of Calabar, be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center, Abuja. Yes, of course, no longer Nigerian prison, but it's actually called Nigeria Correctional Center. For those of you who are not really at home with the change, or to that name in respect to that. Where Mr. Ndufon, a professor of law, was suspended as dean of the faculty after some female students of the faculty held a protest rally accusing him of sexual harassment. The lecturer, who had since denied the allegation, claimed that some of his colleagues, uncomfortable with his style of leadership, manipulated the students against him. But an investigation panel set up by the university indicted this professor of law of sexual assault. Okay, away from that, let's take a look at another trending stories here. Former aviation minister Femi Fani-Kayode has described the allegations being leveled against late Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua, popularly known as TB Joshua, as dirty lies. BCC had exposed alleged secret lifestyles of the late prophet, accusing him of several atrocities, including rape. According to a documentary released by this British Broadcasting Corporation yesterday, 25 eyewitnesses accused late TB Joshua of sexual assault, physical abuse, fabricated miracles, and trauma. Lastly, suspected kidnappers arrested by the Anambra State Police Command have revealed that they use enticing photos of beautiful ladies on Facebook to get their victims. Aderemi Adeoye, the Commissioner of Police in the state, made this known during a press conference in Oka yesterday. The CP said operatives of the command arrested 30 suspected criminals between December 1st, 2023 and January 6th, 2024. For those of us who are Facebook addicts, if I should use the word, Facebook addict, be careful. Be careful. Know what you do on Facebook, because we have so many scammers scamming people. And that's the much we can take on the trending stories on the show this morning. Let's get straight and get into the details of the state of the nation. Remember, we are very much live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. We are everywhere. On Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our Facebook page and drop your comment. What are we discussing today on the state of the nation? We are taking a look at the events that shaped Nigeria in 2023. Many of you may not like to talk about 2023 when it concerns activities that happened in the nation called Nigeria. Many have always shied away from discussing anything that happened in Nigeria in the year 2023, especially when it comes to as it concerns politics, the judiciary, the economy, the National Assembly. Many believe that the National Assembly of the Night Assembly, if I should use that word, were rubber stamped. But one of the Nigerians' foremost politicians, I'm talking about Senator Shehu Sani, said the Night Assembly, we are not just rubber stamped, but copy paste National Assembly. I know many have shied away from discussing anything that has to do with these people, but on the show this morning, I would urge you, I would appeal to you not to shy away. It is our country. If we don't get to talk about it or discuss it, nobody will do. And whether you discuss or talk about it or not, it affects you directly or indirectly. So on the show this morning, we're looking at the events that shaped Nigeria in the year 2023, ranging from politics comprises of election, the National Assembly activities, and we go to the judiciaries that played a major role. In fact, if I should give a word to an institution, let me say institutions that shape on events that shaped Nigeria majorly in the year 2023, I would give the first award to the judiciaries, not INEC, the judiciaries. I don't know why I'm laughing, but I'm not really supposed to laugh on the show this morning. These are the issues we'll be looking at on the show this very lovely morning. As I stated earlier, we are very much live on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our page and drop your comment at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our page and drop your comment. We are equally live and active on YouTube. Subscribe, of course, to our YouTube channel by hit that subscribe button at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri and drop your comment on our YouTube page. We're equally live on Twitter. Yes, of course, Boss 989 FM. That is our Twitter handle. You definitely get to listen to us and get to actually drop your comment on our Twitter handle, and we definitely read out those issues. As we said earlier, events that shaped Nigeria in the year 2023. Let's actually begin with activities of the National Assembly. As of course, we know that the National Assembly equally played a major role in event that happened in Nigeria in the year 2023, because whether you like it or not, their activities contributed a lot to where Nigeria as a nation found herself in the year 2023. Well, the National Assembly, yes, both the red chambers, the red chamber and the green chamber, we call them the House of Representatives, the green chamber, then the red chamber, we call them the Senate. The National Assembly resumed legislative activities on January 17, 2023, after a 3-week break to observe the Christmas and New Year holidays. Members just had 6 months to end their 4-year tenure. I'm talking about events that shaped Nigeria in the year 2023. Nigerians did not really expect much from the federal lawmakers who actually secured their political party's ticket to contest the 2023 National Assembly elections, because they would definitely spend more time in their constituencies to round off their campaigns towards the poll slated for February last year. Well, lawmakers who were not returning initiated bills, I want you to follow me closely, initiated bills that they knew would not probably see the light of the day. They used such legislative exercises to keep themselves busy while their colleagues were on the field selling their ambitions to their various constituents. The Senate and the House of Representatives had in the previous year perfected the 5th alteration to to the 1999 Constitution. They had also approved a report that proposed 68 amendments to the Constitution and voted on them electronically. Some of the proposed amendments voted upon included abrogating state and local governments' joint accounts, financial autonomy for state assemblies and judiciaries, legislative summons, life pension for the presiding officers of the National Assembly, visual court proceedings, diaspora voting, and extra seats for women in the parliament. Others were the independent candidacy, mayor for Abuja, power of the parliament to summon the president and governors, immunity for the presiding officers of the legislature, time frame for appointing ministers and commissioners, and expanding the scope of citizenship by registration. The amendments also included separating the office of the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice and moving value-added tax to the exclusive legislative list. The states threatened to take no action on the bills unless former constitutional amendment bills were considered and passed by the National Assembly. Well, the bills were the one to establish state police, establish state judicial council, streamline the procedure for removing presiding officers of state houses of assembly, and to institutionalize legislative bureaucracy in the Constitution. Well, the Ninth National Assembly, before end of their tenure, approved 24 trillion naira already spent by the federal government. Well, then President Muhammadu Buhari said the money was borrowed from the Central Bank of Nigeria over a period of 10 years and asked that the lawmakers approved a repayment plan. Another major event that shaped the Ninth Assembly was revelations by some lawmakers during their validatory session at both chambers, where the Ninth Senate held its validatory session on June 10, 2023. Well, I want to take a look at some of the bills, of course, which were actually passed by this Ninth Assembly. And one of the comments made by one of the lawmakers, honestly, they said that the Nigerians should actually give them some credit, knowing fully well that they did well. Well, I'm not here to judge them anyway. I must leave that judgment for Nigerians to actually decide for themselves. Well, in case you just join us, this is State of the Nation, of course, on Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. And today we are definitely taking a look at the events that shaped Nigeria in the year 2023. We are looking at the political scene, the judiciary, the National Assembly comprised of the political affairs, the nation, and rest of them, including the economy. How did the Nigerian economy fare in the year 2023? As I stated earlier, many of you are really shying away from talking the events that happened in the country. Well, let's look more, into what transpired, at the Great Chamber. Yes, of course, House of Representatives, after a special plenary resort to December 30, 2023, during which it passed the 2024 appropriation bill and subsequently proceeded on recess to mark the year. We want to look at the issues that really shaped this particular honorable Halo Chamber, which translated, of course, into the lives of many Nigerians. Well, being an election year anyway, members of the House of Representatives, like their counterpart in the Senate, returned from the unitary come the year end break of last 2 years, 2022, to a season of a serious political last year. The Independent National Electoral Commission had previously rolled out its timetable for the 2023 general elections, leaving members with the determination to return, desperately working to garner votes of their constituents. By the time the polls were held and results trickled in, the age-long high turnover rate of lawmakers became a subject of concern to many. Yet initial statistics from the electoral umpire INEC show that over 240 members of the outgone assembly of the House of Representatives would not really be part of the 10th House, though not all occasioned by losses at the return bid, as a handful opted not to contest, while others successfully crossed to the upper chamber of the National Assembly. Well, one of the events that shaped the Green Chamber, was the torso for the speakership and the deputy speaker, the principal officers that were really jostling, to actually replace the outgoing principal officers, especially the position of the former speaker, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. It was a very tense one that many Nigerians complained that these lawmakers have deviated from major work they were elected for, that is trying to better the lives of many Nigerians, and we are busy fighting for their own personal office, which never really went down well with so many Nigerians. Well, we saw how the whole drama played out. We saw how the whole thing actually turned out to be. At a point, Johannes and Debo learned in their voice a kind of trying to convince the present government not to disenfranchise and only get the southeast politicians. And they said a lot. We saw how the whole thing really panned out at the Green Chamber, the political turmoil and the giggling and rest of them. But at the end of the day, we saw how those principals officers emerged to occupy the position they are really restating at the moment. Well, away from the drama that happened at the National Assembly last day, let's look at the number one institution. According to me, I would award them as the number one institution drama scene, if I choose that word. This particular institution played major role, played key role. In fact, without some of the, yes, I have to be very, 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 very blunt on the show this morning. Without some of the gravely heaviest mistakes, being done, being perpetrated by this particular institution, I believe Nigeria would have been a better place, let me say, a better outing in the year 2023. With due respect to what really happened at the INEC, which institution am I really talking about here? I'm talking about the judiciary. Yes, oftentimes have we a kind of a belief that judiciary, they have autonomy. We are told, those years that judiciary, don't really kind of succumb to any pressure, that they are independent. But the event that played out last year tends to make many Nigerians have disbelief in what the judiciary always preaches. What really happened? Well, we saw how the election actually went out and panned out last year, and the role played by the judiciaries when it comes to adjudicating issues, election matters, deciding on key roles, from the election tribunal to the election appeal court to the Supreme Court, and to the rest of them. We saw how the whole event really panned out. Many Nigerians, I'm not the one speaking for them, but many Nigerians, from their opinions and from what they really express, they were disgruntled. They were not really satisfied. They lost hope in judiciary, and they don't believe that judiciary is independent anymore. Well, the judicial arm of government is saddled with the responsibility of interpreting the laws enacted by the legislature and executed by the executive arm. In doing so, the court plays a supervisory role and a check on the other arms of government, where the courts have powers to review the acts of the legislative and executive arms, as well as powers to review the decisions reached by courts, especially on appeal. The principle of judicial precedent stipulates that the decisions of the superior courts are binding on inferior courts. The Supreme Court has power to review its previous decisions and seize on appeal in decisions of the Court of Appeal. Well, we want to take a look at the role of judiciary once again as it concerns. Let's start with the presidential election. The February 25th presidential election was held across the 774 local governments areas across the country with minimal challenges. For the first time, a new law known as the Electoral Act 2022 was actually put to the test. before balloting, Nigerians were confident in the ability of the Independent National Electoral Commission to get it right given the robust provisions in the Act. At the end of the balloting, INEC declared, of course, the current president, Senator Bola Ahmed of the All Progressives Congress, the winner of the election, and subsequently returned him as president and commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. The former Lagos State governor, according to INEC, secured a total of 8,794,726 votes, representing 37% of total votes cast, to beat the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, who actually got, according to INEC, 6,984,520 votes, 29% of votes cast. And Peter B of the Labour Party, who got, according to INEC, 6,101,533 votes, 25% of the votes cast, to actually secure second and third positions respectively. Not only did Atiku and Obi reject the declaration of Tinubu as the winner of the election, but they fought their way up to the Supreme Court, which affirmed the election as meeting the required standard, thus dismissing their applications as lacking in merit. Well, after this, various individuals had only come out to express their disappointment on the judiciary. Yes and yes and yes. Well, we saw how the whole thing actually panned out. We saw how the judiciary delivered their verdict. Many of us actually followed the live proceedings of that Supreme Court verdict, and the Nigerians' hope, according to some quarters, were dashed by that verdict released by the Supreme Court. And opinion samples from Nigerians it stated that many Nigerians, millions of Nigerians, no longer believe in the judiciary. And the question which many Nigerians have been asking: will the Nigerian judiciary get it right again? It's a big question. Well, we have already happened, of course, during the Adamawa governorship election. Another interesting political event which put the judiciary in the eyes of the storm was the March 18 governorship election, of course, of last year. Well, the controversy that through the election started when the incumbent governor and the candidate of the PDP, Fintry, scored 421,524 votes, while Binami pulled 39,027 votes. Yes, of course, Binami, who actually contested under the APC, well, Fintry had established a clear lead of 31,249 votes above his major challenger, Aisha Binami, the hero of the APC. After the collation of results from 10 local government areas, Fintry was in a clear lead, but as the collation of results from supplementary polls was ongoing, the Adamawa State Resident Electoral Commissioner Hudu Yunusa arrived at the collation center and announced Binami as the winner of the election. We saw how the whole thing triggered controversy, and the role of the INEC and the judiciary concerning that issue. What verdict on that issue was actually given last year, and the court affirmed that Fintry won that election. Interesting. Well, I think I have to put the 4 lights on the show this morning. Yes, I have to put the 4 lights on the show this morning. What is really your judgment? What is really your assessment? What is really your percentage? Let's do a percentage. Let's do a percentage voting on Nigeria. The major event that really shaped Nigeria last year. We're talking about the judiciary. We're talking about the INEC. We're talking about the National Assembly. And we saw how Nigerian economy equally fared last year. So, is 2023 a year you would love to remember as a Nigerian? Is 2023 a year you should be proud of as a Nigerian? Let me know. You can call me on 090922299922 or 09122677989. 09122677989 or 090922 2992. We are very much live on Facebook as well. You can actually like our page at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri and drop your comment at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our page and drop your comment as well. We have other events as well that really affected Nigeria last year, talking about the subsidy removal by the president, naira scarcity, forex exchange crisis, and many of them. I don't know which of them that you would never love to remember as a Nigerian. And let's actually share your thoughts. Let's actually have that discussion with you. This is a very, very lovely morning on State of the Nation, 90.9 FM Owerri. Well, let's look more into the activities that really transpired and shaped Nigerians, of course, economy last year. Well, from petrol subsidy removal to naira scarcity, the presidential, of course, electoral victory of the APC Bola Tinubu, and also other union strikes that really find out, of course, food inflation, foreign exchange crisis, and so many of them, we don't really want to look into the spores at part of faith, honestly. Let's start with the naira scarcity. Interesting. Naira scarcity was a carryover challenge from late 2022. Outrage followed the redesign of a three naira notes, that is 1,000 naira, 500 naira, and a 200 naira by the Central Bank of Nigeria, that is CBN. Well, the deadline for the validity of old naira notes and the attendant scarcity of new banknotes shook the nation economy, with many small businesses badly affected. Well, the ugly phenomenon saw extortion of cash strapped Nigerians by exploitative points of sale, that is POS agent. Well, protests followed across the country, with the protesters burning some banks and automated teller machines, that is ATM, and rest of them. Well, Nigerians really did not really find it funny during this naira scarcity that really kind of affected many Nigerians negatively in the year 2023. It was a tough time. It was very tough for many Nigerians, and nobody really believed the situation when it actually happened. But the CBN came out to defend their policies. We saw how they kept on trying to convince Nigerians that their policy kind of was good one, and the Nigerians should have patience, because it will definitely transpire, kind of make Nigerian economy better. But we saw the end point of that crazy policy. We saw what really happened. They said the new naira and the old naira will continue to exist to further notice. That is the information. And away from the naira scarcity, let's look at the first subsidy. Of course, on March 29, 2023, with the Muhammad Buhari administration over after 8 years, the new president Tinubu gave the nation's economy a jolt in his inaugural speech when he declared that first subsidy is gone. But the surprising announcement forced fuel prices at government-owned petrol stations to surge from below 200 naira to more than 600 naira per liter. Many businesses and families, are still groaning under the impact of this policy. But the new administration has continued to defend the move as necessary, arguing that the subsidy regime favors the rich and the corrupt, not the poor. Well, the removal of the subsidy on petrol was a big blow to the finances of many Nigerians, as food prices, transportation costs, and prices of commodities were adversely affected. These price increases in turn led to job cuts in virtually all sectors in the first weeks that really followed the subsidy removal. Stories of Nigerians walking to and fro different destinations due to soaring transport costs. Many others with cars dumped them at home, and with some selling off their cars, especially those with high fuel consumption, as they try to adjust to the subsidy removal. Well, it was very bad, honestly, and the subsidy removal, Nigerians are still feeling the effect of the subsidy removal to date. And they said they removed subsidy, while some of the government agencies say subsidy is still ongoing. Only the government of the day will tell us the true fact of this subsidy policy. Well, for those of you who are very good in forex, trade and rest of them, we quite had it very, very rough when it comes to the forex trading, because the crisis actually ensued, with a couple of policies being made by the CBN in the year 2023. The immediate past CBN governor was not equally left behind as well. Talking about Gordon Emefiele, because he had his own share of travels. Of course, the former CBN governor Gordon Emefiele's travels dominated headlines for months. And the travel started less than 2 weeks after the inauguration of President Tinubu, which by June 29, 2020, after 9 years of leading the central bank and Nigeria's monetary policy, Emefiele had been suspended by the president. Of course, the next day he was arrested by the Department of State Services (DSS) with a viral video showing him being tucked into a Hilux van and whisked away. He will be held for months, of course, before the secret police passed him over to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for money laundering and fraud-related offences allegations, as he denied all that. Interesting thing. Well, Nigeria Labour Congress equally had their own activities, of course, to share with us. They equally had their own stuff in the year 2023, talking about the strikes embattled by the labor unions surfaced prominently in the year 2023. There were several protests and industrial actions by the Nigeria Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, as well as the numerous affiliates, including the Nigerian Medical Association and the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. Common denominators for the strikes included demands for increased salaries and better welfare packages for members. Were prominent amongst the many labor actions in the year was the declaration of a nationwide strike by the organized labor in early November last year over the brutalization of its president, Joe Ajero, in Imo State by the Imo State government and some security agencies. We have another interesting issue that really probably wowed Nigerians in the year 2023. I'm talking about the issue between the late governor of course, of Ondo State, who actually passed away, and his deputy. Yes, of course, though his deputy Ayede Tuwa has been sworn in as the substantial governor of Ondo State. Yes, of course, after the governor kicked the bucket in Germany. Well, in Rivers State, we quite saw the power tussle and struggle between Fubara, the current governor of Rivers State, and of course his immediate past friend governor. I'm talking about the immediate past governor of Rivers State, who is currently the FCT minister, Honorable Winston Wike. The feud started in the year 2023 and it crossed over into the year 2024. Many of you may believe or have this notion that the issue has been settled, but we know how politicians do their stuff. Well, in oil-rich Rivers State, all was not really calm in the last quarter of 2023, where we saw the crisis between Simi Fubara, of course, and Wilson Wike, which actually kind of forced the president of the nation to come into the issue and find a way to settle these two political heavyweights in Rivers State. Well, this is still state of the nation, and we're taking a look at the events that shaped Nigeria in the year 2023. What is your view on the events that really shaped Nigeria last year? Which of them actually kind of attracted attention? Which of them would you love to comment? Is it the Nigerian economy? Or is it the judiciary, the INEC, the National Assembly? What area would you love to comment, and what is the way forward? Despite the fact that Nigeria as a country, we all know Nigeria as a country did not fare better last year, ranging from issues that really affected her. Yes, but what can we do to better Nigeria this year? This is a new year. We're looking at what happened last year. While we discuss that, we quite love to kind of profess solutions to the issues that took Nigeria backward in the year 2023. We saw how the election actually went. Before the election, many Nigerians believed that the election in 2023 would be one of the best elections ever in the country, would be the most free and fair elections, but the reverse